Indy Mogul.
This week on Indie News, what would you share in a 6-second video? Star Wars Episode VII now has a director, a $50 DIY travel jib, and I compared DIY slider options with the indiSLIDERmini. Hey Indie Mogulers, Griffin here. This week, Twitter launched a new video app called Vine, which allows users to share 6-second videos in a square aspect ratio like Instagram. The simple hold and release interface is a fast way to produce in-camera edited clips that loop like animated GIFs, but they include sound. I wish there was a little more editing control and the ability to import a video, but I'm intrigued to see what creative filmmaker types can do with the platform. Let me know in the comments what you think about Vine and if there are any other Instagram-style video apps that you prefer. This week, Disney announced that J.J. Abrams, the director of the 2 latest Star Trek films, will also direct Star Wars Episode VII, finally bridging that divide between a galaxy far, far away and where no man has gone before. The new Star Wars film, which I am very excited about, will be released in 2015. This week, Chad Bradle, who shares lots of cool DIY tips on his channel Crotoflick, developed a $50 DIY jib capable of crane shots like this. By rigging together 2 inexpensive monopods, the whole device folds up nicely for travel. Speaking of DIY, lately I've been considering building my own slider to get those smooth, stable tracking shots. Of course, Zach Finfrock, when he was on Indie Mogul, designed a $20 slider using plywood and PVC pipe. And Ryan Connolly of Film Riot managed to get the price down to $10 using metal conduit. These low-budget designs have unbeatable price tags, but I imagine they wouldn't give me the super smooth, reliable performance I'm looking for. Although many professional sliders, like those by Kessler, cost around $500 and up. So I started searching for DIY alternatives, and came across this thread on DVXuser. This guy built a slider using 80/20 rails, strong, lightweight aluminum, with carriages that slide on plastic. I even found overstock 80/20 parts on eBay. I'd have to drill a bunch of holes to turn this into a camera slider, but I wondered if it would do the job. My search also led me to similar Drylin rails by iGus. And some commenters noted these rails are essentially the same technology used in the $100 indiSLIDERmini, which my friend Nick just happens to own. So I borrowed his on a recent shoot to see if it's worth the money. While a DIY version might get me longer than 2 feet, the indiSLIDERmini already comes equipped with a 3/8/16 threaded screw hole for tripod legs and 1/4-20 holes I can mount directly onto a quick release plate. They've also added metal stoppers and a locking mechanism for the carriage. Instead of this puck quick release design, I wish the carriage simply had a screw for my camera or tripod head. I had trouble keeping this thing from spinning, so I added a piece of rubber to keep it tight. I wasn't interested in panning or tilting while sliding, so I used a basic ball head to provide some flexibility on the slider. I was shooting a zombie chase scene, and my early takes were a little shaky, probably a combination of human error, and the carriage on these types of DIY rails has a little bit of play. I also found I ran into the end of the 2 feet pretty quick, but I didn't need that much clip length in the edit. Of course, the closer things are to the camera, the less slider distance you actually need for the effect. And I only noticed once I watched the behind-the-scenes footage that my tripod isn't keeping the slider level throughout the movement. So if I had a longer slider, I would definitely need support on both ends. Because I used a quick release plate, occasionally the low riding carriage would run into the rubber grip, causing a ruined shot. So I would definitely benefit from a modified setup and more practice. Because the slider lets me set the camera on a radius away from the tripod, I set up a unique SnorriCam shot following a baseball bat. The smooth motion allowed me to speed it up without adding any shake. So the indiSLIDERmini definitely added some cinematic style to my project. But on a shoot with lots of actors, lots of variables, I would love a slider that just performs flawlessly on every take. And that's expensive. So while I may not be ready to add a slider to my arsenal, my friend Nick, who owns the indiSLIDERmini, is very happy with how it performs at weddings. So I hope today's show gave you some insight on this product and some of the other DIY options out there. And next week, I'll premiere the zombie video and I'll give you a behind-the-scenes look. On today's playlist, I have lots of DIY, including Chad's $50 travel jib, Zach's $20 slider, Ryan's $10 slider, and here's a third DIY slider that I think is a really clever design. And then I also have this week's new and notable video contests. So thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you have any filmmaking questions.